your business advisory services. And you'll notice there's two chairs here. He's also going to interview a charming gentleman who has become a bit of an institution at the Tavern on Hamilton Island, a little bit later about how he went to some of the events and got benefit out of it for his clients. Would you please welcome John? Oh, hello, John.
Kennedy will be the next president of the United States.
A bit of change over the last 100 years, don't you think? Yeah? And it's only going to get faster. Have we had a good time so far? Have we learnt a lot? Because I've picked up some really neat things from the back of the room. The needs analysis, I think, is something we should all be looking at implementing. I've also picked up systems and processes, something we lack in. I've got an accounting practice, just like you guys. I've also, thank you, David, also developed a concept which is called global business camps, where we take accountants with their clients away for a few days and work on changing the client's mindset so the accountant can actually then go back and offer more business advisory work. Does that sound pretty interesting? Yeah, all right, cool. Now, I normally move around a lot and talk with my hands, my arms, but I'm not going to do that today because I'm aware the guys are trying to catch me and record the session. David actually preempted my session really well because he did the sales and how to sell the stuff. I'm going to talk about marketing and what we've done in our practice to actually get more business advisory work. Now, I'm not saying we've got it nutted, I'm not saying we've got all the right answers, but we do certain things and certain things work. So there might be something that could be of value for you. These are interesting statistics. 84% of SMEs are aiming to grow in the next 5 years. So that's a massive opportunity for us. The top 3 issues: staff recruitment, and we've just heard about outsourcing, which could be a possibility, business development, cash flow and cash control. We are gurus at cash flow and cash control. And we talked about budgeting yesterday. We should all be getting our clients onto more budgeting. I think it's a massive opportunity. 38% are planning to sell or float their business, so we can help them there. 47% don't have a succession plan. There's going to be businesses changing hands, but people don't know how they're going to do that. And this is scary. 94% just give out a price. Someone calls a business and says, how much are your chickens? Oh, they're $15. Wouldn't it be interesting if they had a process and said, so that I could help you best, would it be okay with you if I asked you a couple of questions? They're the processes that our clients need to be putting in place instead of saying, it's that much. So what that tells us is that people in business need some help. I personally think we're in the best position to help them. It's up to us whether we want to take the opportunity or not. And how many, and that leads on to this really well, how many of us are currently doing business advisory already? Few of us? Cool. What sort of work are we doing? CFO, yep, CFO work, beautiful external CFO, budgeting, helping them with strategy. So the rest of us, I think this is a massive opportunity. And the reason you're here, obviously, is you're interested in this sort of stuff. Am I right in that? Are you interested in this sort of stuff? Cool. All right. Don't throw anything at me, guys, if I say anything you don't like. This is key to understand. Lou Platt, the ex-CEO of Hewlett-Packard, put it this way. Whatever made you successful in the past won't in the future. A few years ago, we actually ran a customer advisory board. We got 12 of our really good clients in a room and taped the session and asked them all these questions. And some of the questions were, how else could we be helping you more? How else can we create more value for you? Are there other services that you need from us? Some key themes. They wanted us to help them create more wealth. They wanted us to help them grow their businesses. They wanted us to help them minimise their tax, which always comes out. They wanted us to have access to other resources. They didn't mind if they didn't just see the owners of the business. They were happy to see the rest of the team. How do we market our business advisory services? A massive differentiating point is the Global Business Camp. And I'm putting that here because a lot of the methodology that I'm talking about, that we talk about at the camp, we actually have implemented in our practice. You saw in the video the 6 secrets. They came up. These are the 6 secrets to running a successful business. You've got to get these right so the business functions well. We've actually implemented these. So whatever we preach at the camp, we actually have implemented in our business and it's worked. So begin with the end in mind. What do we cover there? We look at change. We look at working on, not in. We look at effective leadership. We look at values, mission and vision. So your practice, if you're looking at doing BA work, you should really be thinking, we're the leaders, we've got to drive this process. We've got to think about changing. How can we work more on instead of in? Planning for success, it's all about strategic planning and financial budgeting. So we had to work out early on that we had issues in our practice. And for us to do more BA work, we had to cover off on those things. And I'll talk about what they were. And obviously budgeting is important because we've got to make sure we're making some money out of this stuff. So we've got to set some budgets and try to achieve them. Growing your business, 5 key business building strategies. 1 is get more customers of the type you want. 2 is increase the transaction value. 3 is increase the frequency with which they deal with us. 4 is build systems and processes in place to make it happen consistently. And 5 is have a committed team. 1, 2 and 3 can work, but they'll work sporadically if you don't have 4 and 5. So you've got to have your systems and you've got to have a committed team. And I'll talk about some of the stuff we did there. Managing your business, it's all about tracking your financials and going back and comparing to your budgets. No point setting budgets in place if you're not going to compare back to actuals. The other thing is critical success factors and KPIs are very important. So we run a lot of events, and when we run an event, a critical success factor could be that we want to try to get 100 people there. So the critical steps are that we need to do marketing by this date, we need to make this many phone calls, we need to go out and see so many people. The KPI is, did we get 100 people there? Did we make the phone calls? Did we do what we said we were going to do? So you've got to measure and manage. Value in your business is all about risk and multiple. If we can decrease the risk, we increase the multiple. Very simple process. And I'll talk about how we try to do that. And freedom. It's all about getting your team more engaged. And actually, I think David mentioned it, or Mark mentioned it, I said, buying yourself out of a job. Like going to work and really having nothing to do but work on your business. It's a really neat way to look at it. So I'm going to touch on beginning with the end in mind. And this is some of the stuff we did. We actually sat down many years ago and set the course. We said, okay, we're a compliance practice, we're a commodity practice, we want to change, we want to be a business advisory firm where we actually help people plan for the future. And whether that includes financial planning, whether it includes normal business advisory work, that's what we wanted to do. Every year, my business partner and I go off site for 2 days and strategize. What do we want to achieve in the next 12 months? How are we going with this? Is there anything else we need to be bolting on? We then have an annual team day where we relay all the information to the team and get them to buy in, get their feedback. What do they think? Constant communication. We have morning huddles. I think David mentioned when he was talking about working the job flow. We have morning huddles to work out how work's going. What issues are you facing? 5, 10 minutes. What's going on? Where are you to? Have you contacted so-and-so? If you haven't, Do you need me to help you? We then have a weekly meeting, so we can go back and say, okay, these are the jobs we committed to complete, whatever they were. How are we going with them? What issues are we facing? And we then have monthly management meetings. Look and feel is important. I'll show you some pictures of our office. Like I said before, it's not perfect, but we try to be a little bit different. Our look and feel is not of a compliance practice. Our look and feel is of something else. It's of an advisory practice. Our marketing that goes out, it's got the look and feel of our office. It doesn't have tax and compliance in there. I'm not sure what sort of newsletters you guys send out, but our newsletter has got nothing about tax in it. Understand our relationship objectives. I think that's very important. We sat back and said, okay, what are we trying to achieve here? And then we constantly reiterate our values, mission and vision, and I'll show you those. These were our objectives. We wanted to increase the number of clients subscribing to our services. This is pretty neat because then we can measure it. So if in 1 year we've got 50 clients working with us in that way, the next year if we haven't got more, we've fallen behind. So we set targets. We wanted to improve the quality of referred clients. It's amazing when you're talking to your clients and you're helping them create their wealth that they will refer a lot of friends to you. We picked up 150 grand worth of work last year from referrals. I'm not saying that to say it's a good number, but we got that. One client of that was $70,000 and it came from another client. And most of that $70,000 is advisory work. Ensure all parties are happy with the relationship and become advocates. That's the only way we're going to grow our business. That's the only way we're going to grow. And the last one is probably the most important one, because if you don't get that one right and the client can't see the value or can't see their wealth going up, the others won't work. They won't refer anyone to us. So that's how we tackled it. This is our vision. And what you'll notice is that there's nothing about tax and accounting there. It's to be there for our selected clients and provide them with their preferred lifestyle, whatever it might be. And like David said this morning, talk to them. One client's got separate issues or separate ideas of where they want to be or what they want to do to another client. So if we don't get in our car and go out and see them, what are we going to find out? Our mission, we're in business to help business owners and investors improve their lifestyles. We want to work with like-minded clients and like-minded team members. We want to get like-minded team members because if we've got team members coming in and all they want to do is tax and compliance and they don't want to actually try to help the client any further, what's the point? It's not going to be a good environment. We had a team member that only wanted to do tax and accounting, and we actually helped her get another job because it wasn't where we were going and she wasn't going to have fun there. Planning for success, it's all about our clients. And I think this is the critical issue. We have their trust and confidence. The way I look at it is I agree wholeheartedly with what David said this morning. We should become friends with our clients. I'm friends with all of the clients that I want to work with. And that's a few when I'm in the office. But we shouldn't let them down. They come to us for a reason. We should try to help them out. And I know you guys are all doing this stuff. Who is our competition? I think it's an important question. I don't think our competition is us. The way I look at it, and it always makes us try harder in our office, is if a client comes to our office and has an experience, whether it was good or bad, if they then hop in their car and go down the road to the butcher shop and have a better experience, that's going to negatively impact us. So our competition is everyone out there. You might think that's a strange way of looking at it, but I don't think that we're competing against each other because there's so much work out there. You know, it's what we're doing to give these guys an experience. And it's always the little things. It's how they get greeted. It's whether we walk all our clients out the door. It's not that we're worried they're going to steal something when they're leaving, but we take them out because they're our friends. That's what we do at home when our friends come over. We take them out and say, see you later and I'll see you soon. So there's little things that you need to be doing which will set you apart. As Lou Platt said, we need to be different. We can't keep doing things the same and expect different outcomes. We sat down and actually ran a SWOT analysis on our business, and what we found is strengths, and I think you guys have got all of these. We had a good database. We had strong relationships. We know our stuff. Clients don't expect us to have all the answers. So these are all strengths. For us, we were a bit different, we were a bit quirky, we do different things, so that was a strength. Weakness was we were lacking in some resources, some tools. So we've actually invested in Cashflow Story, and we think it's great. And I'll tell you how we use Cashflow Story. So I'm also looking at the stuff that MYP have got outside and that blueprint stuff. That looks pretty neat. So I'm going to find out a bit about that. So you've got to work out where you're weak and add to it. The other thing that we realised is that we had to delegate work down so my business partner and I could be freed up to do more of this stuff. So the weakness was, hey, do we have enough resources? So we have to probably invest in some more resources. The opportunity, really I think it's a massive opportunity, whether it's business advisory, whether it's this RG146 stuff and the opportunity to give people strategic advice and help them plan for their future. The way we look at it is that we need to be helping them go somewhere now. It's not just looking at what's been happening. That's all good and well, we need to do that. But how are we going to help them get to where they want to go safely? The threat, if we don't do it, guys, someone else is going to do it. Anyone in here, no, obviously none of you, no one's in here is an Action International coach, are they? If we don't do it, these guys are going to come along and take our business. And remember, we've got their trust and confidence. We are the trusted advisor. I know you hear that all the time, and sometimes I get sick of hearing it, but we are the trusted advisor. So we shouldn't let our clients down. So, like I said, we invested in resources. Cash flow story, we've got 4 or 5 pages. It's the P&L ratios that Mark was talking about, the balance sheet, working capital, debtors, stock, creditors, and then we do the 1%. And we actually take it out and talk to people and say, okay, this is where your numbers look, this is what's happening, this is the trend. I think that there could be some issues here that we might need to look at. Guess what happens once we go through the cash flow story? We don't go through the financials. They just sign. And then we talk about other things. Business newsletter, like I said, I'm happy to show you our newsletters. There is nothing about tax. There is no tax deadlines. I actually get some newsletters from other accountants that are friends, and I get them, and there's always deadlines about this. There's BAS deadlines. I don't even know when the BAS deadlines are. I do, but you know what I mean? Like, it's all about how can you grow your business? How do you motivate your staff? How do you engage in meaningful relationships? How do you add value to your product or service? It's all about that sort of stuff. And we have got our business camp that I said, and I'll talk about that. And our business camp I developed many years ago because I wanted to give something back, and I wanted accountants to come along with clients, and we'll talk about how that works. But new clients come in, we talk about a business camp to people. We run a lot of events. We have an events calendar. At the start of the year, we say, okay, we're going to run this many events. What are they going to be? It could be on business improvement. It could be on planning for success. It could be on SMSF. It could be on property in terms of wealth creation. It's on a number of things, and it's getting in front of people, just face-to-face talking to them. I put face-to-face up there actually last night because I've heard a bit of chatting amongst people. I know a lot of people saying we should be emailing and contacting over the phone and doing these webinars. I think face-to-face is the only real way to get business or actually help people. Interesting, a few years ago I walked into a client of ours. He's an electrical contractor, and he had a pile of papers in the corner, and we're chatting away, gone through cash flow story, what does it look like, what's happening. Actually back then I think we were using Optimizer. And then I said, Len, what's that? And he said, what? I said, that pile, what's all that? He says to me, they're my debtors. And I said, oh, you've sent all these invoices and you're waiting to collect this money. He goes, no, they're my debtors. I said, Len, I don't get it, what do you mean? He goes, they're all the jobs we've done and I need to invoice. It's a pile like that. I said, really? How old are some of these? He goes, oh, some are 12 months old. I said, you're kidding me, aren't you? I then said, what's wrong with them? He says, well, the majority of them, because it's the younger guys doing it, have missed 1 or 2 line items. So I then said, so I pulled one. I said, so this $1,500 invoice, what could it be missing? He goes, oh, it might be missing a part for $10. I said, mate, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I went like that. I bent over like that. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to pick them up and throw them in the bin because that's what they're worth. He goes, don't do that. There's about $300,000 worth of work there. So we ended up getting to me, it was a BA assignment. We actually put someone in there, one of our juniors, to work with them on putting those codes and maybe not even invoicing some of those codes and getting those invoices out. We got paid about 20 grand to do that, which was really neat. Got him 300. So he's a client that appreciates it now. Our office appearance. When you walk into our reception, this is what we've got, and hopefully you can read that. It's the 5 key business building strategies. So it always starts discussion. So clients walk in and say, oh, that's pretty neat. This is on every desk, boardroom, meeting room, offices, out in the open, it's everywhere. So our message is consistent. That talks about unlocking hidden profit, that's in reception. That's the 6 secrets in one of the rooms. People walk in and say, oh, that's interesting. Talk to me about that. So if you haven't got visual stuff around, think about maybe having some. This is in our reception. On the wall, there is no tax there. It's all about our brochure, it's speaking, it's our business camps, there's something about the business planning framework, it's all different stuff. No tax and accounting. We are tax and accounting, but no tax and accounting. I'm not sure how many of you guys are doing that, but if you're not, think about it. Growing your business. We invested in the team, we delegate down now, which frees us up, and like I said, the monthly newsletters go out, they're all about business. Business camp. We invite all our business clients to business camp, and all the accountants that get involved with us with business camp, we tell them, invite all your clients. Their response is, but they're not going to come. They're not all going to come. My response is, that's okay, because if you're marketing to your clients and they can see you're doing something different, whether they come this year, next year, the year after, or don't come at all, at least they've realised you're doing something different. So then the penny drops and they say, that's a good idea. So we promote everything we do to the area that we're promoting to. And we don't hit them hard, but we promote hard. Like I said, our events, and we have them and they work. Activity produces results. If we get off our bums and do things, do stuff, we'll get results. We've got a guarantee. If we muck up, they don't pay. Muck up, they don't pay. We called ourselves once on it, and once a client called in our financial planning arm, it cost us 28 grand. So we did work for free for 3 years for this client. Since then, for about 10 years now, they've been paying us $15,000, $16,000 a year. So the lifetime value for us was much more worth than saying, hey, it wasn't really our fault. You created that. So we actually wore it up front to make sure we kept the client. Now, he's actually referred other people to us. Him and his wife have referred other people to us. Our new client kit, it's a neat brochure with information on the firm, with information on our events and our business camp. And new clients say, ooh, I haven't seen that before. That's interesting. Reward the team. We have drinks, and I know you guys probably are doing this stuff. We have lunches, days off, cinema nights, and so forth. FIFO. Fit in or go away. We've done that with clients before. We've actually sacked clients, and it's interesting. One client didn't want to leave. And we say, but we can't work with you. We argue all the time. I don't enjoy these meetings. No, but I don't want to go. So that applies to team members as well. All ideas. If it doesn't work, flick it out. Ask plenty of questions. I think David mentioned this morning, and Mark, you've got to ask a lot of questions. If we ask questions, we prompt thoughts in their minds, they've got the answers. Don't worry, if you're going to go out there, don't think that we don't have the answers. We don't have the answers. They do. But by us asking the right questions or different questions, like David said, he's inquisitive. He just asks every question. I ask a lot of questions, and from that we get a lot of work. The language and terminology, this is important as well, guys. When we actually have clients come in, this is one of the strategies that we use. We've got a number of them, but I haven't got the time to show you all of them. We say to clients, when you first went into business, you had a dream. We actually start thinking about visioning with them. So we say to them, why did you go into business? What did you want to achieve? What was your end goal? It's interesting because they give us all these ideas, we write them up on the whiteboard, and then we say, it's all of this stuff, the freedom, the lifestyle, the family, the wealth. And they say, yeah. So we're getting positive responses. So we actually put all this and say, okay, it's the big freedom in the middle, you've got peace of mind, financial independence, but you've got to fight some fires. Exactly. Of course we do. I then say, well, but typically what happens from our experience with working with a lot of business owners, that actually becomes like that. And they go, yeah, that's exactly what it is. We've got all these issues. I've got to go open up, I've got to follow up the team, I've got to do the banking. So I haven't got time to work on my business. So that's a massive opportunity for us. This is really neat dialogue for us. Like I said, we've got 5 or 6 strategies that we do this. So we say to them, what needs to be in place is all of this. But as you can see, it comes at you from every angle. And therefore people get confused. So the way we pull it together, we tell them, is via our 6 secrets to a successful business. And I've got a folder out there, which I'm happy for all of you at lunch to show you how it works and what we do with clients. But the minute we talk about this, it changes the whole relationship. It changes, the dialogue is completely different. We're not talking about lodgements, we're not talking about FBT, we're not talking about payroll tax. We're talking about how am I going to get from here to here? And how are you going to help me do that? And then they love you forever. Managing your business. We measure and manage a lot of things. So as you can imagine, if we're running an event, we've got to measure and manage, make sure we're getting the right numbers there. So it's all about managing, comparing back to your budgets. We say that to the clients, that gets us more budgeting work. Valuing and freedom. In terms of this, I believe, and you could say, I think you're wrong, but the fact that you guys are all here, I think you agree, we can de-risk our businesses and de-risk our clients' businesses by getting more and more involved with them. And sometimes we may not get the money that we think we deserve up front, but sometimes we'll get more than we think. So just get in there and give it a go. Just get in there and give it a go. Freedom actually comes from the fact that team members want to work for us. So when a few of you said, yeah, we're having some issues, we actually don't have that issue, which is pretty good. We've got excess capacity, which is nice. But then it gives us the opportunity to go out and chase the work. And then I can come on a plane, come to Hamilton Island, enjoy myself like you guys. It's really important. A couple of client success stories. These are neat. Health provider. We started with them in 2005. They've been with us for 11 years. As you can see, their turnover's grown dramatically. Profits, that was what the owner was just taking, 80,000. And she was working so hard, it was unbelievable. They now make a couple of $1 million a year, and she works, because she's got a few grandchildren now, so she doesn't always go in. They've been to 6 of our business camps with team and worked. We actually do quite a bit of business advisory work with them. Some of the work we do is budgeting. We spend a lot of time budgeting. Ratio analysis. We help them with tenders. We sit on their management meetings monthly. So we work with them from a weekly, fortnightly, monthly basis. Now, when we were fortunate to win this tender, there were 3 firms tendering. We weren't the cheapest. Interesting thing though is that the accountant was charging them $25,000 a year. He was a commodity. He was completing their work cover recs, payroll tax reconciliations, doing all that sort of stuff. We said, we're not going to do that. We're going to train one of your team or 2 of your team to do that, but we're going to leave the price the same, but catch up with you every month for management meetings. They thought there was a lot of value in that. They pay us good money now and have been doing that for a long time. And I'm not putting that up because it's a good number. This is another one. We actually we were doing tax and accounting work with these guys, tried a couple of times to get some business advisory work with them, didn't really go anywhere. They ran into a bit of trouble, and the bank forced them to have quarterly meetings with us. The bank said, you need to go off and get quarterly meetings organised, and they wanted Profit Optimizer, because that's what the bank understood. So the moral of that story is, you're going to use different tools with different clients. Like, Optimizer works for them, Cash Flow Story works for someone else, Excel spreadsheets might work for that health provider, because it's a really convoluted business. Now we have meetings with them every quarter. We run their corporate compliance. We're their annual AGM, and they pay us some good money. So it's not about the money. And trust me, I only put that there because people ask me, well, how much money do you charge these guys? It's not about the money. This is important. If I leave you with one message before I get Tony up, we do not attract what we want. We attract that which we are. Now, by that I mean, if you go back to work, and I know you guys are doing this stuff, because typically what happens is the people that are already doing stuff are here. The people that should be here don't come. But if you go back and you don't actually implement some of this stuff, it won't work. Like, you've got to change your practice a little bit. You've got to get some marketing collateral in there. Maybe send some business newsletters. Maybe pick up the phone and speak to people. I don't know what it is, but the message has got to be consistent. Now, the business camp. It's a massive differentiating point for us. I'll tell you briefly, then I'm going to get Tony up because you're in for a treat. He is a guru. Basically, the business camp got devised back in 2002 and has grown and changed along the way. I actually built it for my clients, and the first event we had 45, 48 clients come along. I had some accountants come along 3 or 4 years later. They said, this is a great idea. Why don't you run it nationally? So it evolved and became a national event where we want accountants to come. We want them to bring clients. For every 5 clients you bring, you get 1 seat for free for yourself. I don't want your work. I don't want your clients' work. I want you guys to get the work. Get them there, we change their mind, and from there, you guys go back and you do heaps and heaps of work with them. Now, Tony's going to come up, and I've got some questions that I'm going to ask him, and he's going to tell us. This is actually on Tony's website. Can we give Tony a round of applause? I just want to stand. Do you want to stand or you want to sit? That's all right. Oh. So basically, this is up on Tony's website. They've gone back after the last camp, and he's telling people, hey, next camp's coming up. Are you guys interested? So what I did, I actually put together just 5 questions. Tony, why did you get involved? What was your end in mind from the GBC?
Thanks, John. Look, a bit like Mark and Sam, I've got a real passion for business advisory work. I started TJL back in October 2008 on my own, left a fairly large practice in Sydney. Left with 1 client. Over a 2-year process, sort of developed probably 20 clients and turnover of 700k. I then had this mad idea of moving from Sydney to Foster and bought a traditional accounting practice up in based in Taree. And when I say traditional, it was like walking into the 60s and 70s, and David Smith can vouch for that. He was involved in the process, so I've never seen more filing cabinets in my entire life that was in this office. I decided to make that move for the family, but also with business advisory in mind. I worked my way through the client base, obviously got rid of a lot of clients. There was a hell of a lot of C's and D's in that practice, probably down to probably got about 75% of the clients to leave, thankfully. And the 25% that I kept, probably 10% of those I developed into advisory clients. And some of those have been really, really good. The area I had a lot of trouble with were the smaller clients. So when I say the smaller clients, they probably bring $2,000 to $5,000 a year into the practice, and trying to get them to engage in advisory work, I found it very difficult. And I met John about 3 or 4 years ago. We talked about the Global Business Camp, what it's all about. I liked the idea, so I took, 3 years ago, I took my first table of clients. So it was a very diverse client base. It was a guy that's got a bus company locally in Taree, a guy that's got a trucking business, and 2 guys from one business that operate a plumbing wholesale retail business. These were all clients that weren't advisory clients, they were just compliance work. Took them to the camp, they absolutely loved it. Before we left the camp, the plumbing guys said, "We need you on board." That was, they were a $30,000 a year compliance job. That turned into about $250,000 a year. And then I had the mad idea in July last year and merged with another accounting practice in Taree. Another one of my fantastic ideas, David. So I sort of grew the practice to the number of people you saw back up there before. So we have 30, I think it's 32 or 33 people now. So what I was trying to do next was to get the other managers in the practice and staff in the practice to start thinking about advisory. As we've all heard, compliance is a dead duck. Certainly it's part of what we do, but if we're not going to do advisory, realistically, we're going to have a practice going backwards quickly. So my ideal this year, it was in March this year, was actually to take some staff. So this year we had 2 tables, 6 clients, 4 staff. 2 of those are managers. One was intermediate accountant and the other one a senior. My idea of that was to get them to understand firsthand what the Global Business Camp was all about. It'll help them help sell to their clients to get them to the camps next year. I allowed some of the managers to talk directly to their clients to try and get them to come along. There was a bit of a roadblock in that, but after them being there this year, I think next year it's going to be much, much better. So my end in mind is essentially to make sure my entire team have the buy-in to advisory work like I do.
Awesome. Do you use it as a differentiating resource?
Absolutely. We have in the Foster Taree area, we probably have about 14, 15 accounting practices of all different sizes, shapes and sizes, but they're all traditional accounting practices. I think nearly all of them have business advisory in their name. What I try to do though is be completely different, and we've had clients come to us from referrals and all they want is tax work, and I basically turn them away if that's all they want to do. Our marketing and advertising that my wife handles is all related to business advisory. There is nothing tax related in anything we do. The Power of One that Mark spoke about this morning, that's high on our marketing campaign. We sponsored the Ronald McDonald retreat in Foster. They have a golf day each year. Our marketing at that retreat was actually on a little Aussie race car, and he's got the Power of One on it. So I'm a big advocate of advisory work, and I try and differentiate ourselves to the market.
You guys raised some good money for that too.
Yeah, we did, mate. It was our second year in a row for it, and so 2 years running now, we've raised about $45,000 for the retreat.
Pretty awesome. How did you promote it, and how did you get clients there?
Look, I'll be honest, this is the hardest part, trying to get your clients to spend 3 days, because I'll give you all excuses under the sun why they can't leave their business. The idea is that you just simply say to them, if you sit here all day long working in your business, you're never ever going to grow it and be able to look outside of it. So I work personally very hard on my clients to get them there. Probably the fatal mistake I made this year was the 2 managers. I let them run with it for about 6 months, and I promised John 2 tables. So, and John being John was hot on my heels. But we got about 2 months out and really only had 1 table, so I just got on the phone to my clients and basically said, look, this isn't optional, you need to be there. So we filled the tables up, and but look, it is very difficult. But we've got a new game plan this year. One of the clients I took to the camp this year was a very, very strong advocate. Within a week and a half of coming home, he sold the table. So he just went to people he knew in the area and said, you've got to be there next year, and we've got 1.5 tables sold already.
So I'm expecting 4 tables from you. What has it meant for your practice, mate?
Yeah, look, it's, well, so, you know, 2 times I've taken clients to the camp, and look, probably rough numbers, it's probably increased turnover in our practice by about $500,000. You know, this year alone, 3 of the clients that came, one is a golf pro, and he's about a $4,000 a year client. It was night 1, and look, I did lubricate him with a bit of wine. But during the wine, he basically turned to me and said, mate, I need you. So we now have a deal where $1,000 a month on top of the $4,000 a year for advisory work. And then the other guy that I brought along has got an RTO business. He, I think by about halfway through day 1, realised that he needed massive assistance. So we've become virtual CFO to him, and that happened in the last month. And that's $20,000 a month. So, you know, for the practice, it's certainly increased our revenue. It's important to have that capacity that I think David was talking about yesterday, because these things just happen, and if you don't have that capacity, you just simply can't pick up this work and run with it if you need to.
What about the client that was going to call on the guarantee?
What was that, sorry, mate?
The guy that was going to call on the guarantee.
Oh, yeah, I had one client, and look, he is a very, very difficult client. He's got a 24-hour glass business in Taree, and that's, I found out during the event on the way up in the car, he said to his wife, he goes, look, I'm just going to go up there for the holiday, and because I always say to my clients, it's a full money-back guarantee. If you get to the end of the 3 days and get nothing out of it, John's going to refund your money. So anyhow, this particular client, that's right, isn't it, mate?
It is.
But, you know, this particular client apparently had told his wife on the way up in the car that, listen, I'm just going to go up, because it was at the Gold Coast. I'll enjoy 3 days on the coast, and when I get back, I'll get my money back. So, and he was unbelievable. He was telling me during some of the sessions that, you know, mate, you just simply can't do a cash flow for my business. I'm going, really? You must have the only business in Australia that we can't do a cash flow for, mate. By the end of day 2, he had pages and pages of notes. I found out afterwards that his wife told me that all the way home in the car from the Gold Coast to Foster, he was driving, and she had a notepad out, and he was barking out orders of all the things that she had to do in the business when he got back. So, needless to say, he's now a very, very big advocate, and he's got a testimonial that he's written for us as well.
So he's not calling on the guarantee?
He's not calling on the guarantee, mate. No, you're
Lucky
safe.
me. All right. What's it meant for your clients?
Oh, look, it made them realise, especially that small, that golf pro. You know, he's been a golf pro for, well, I think about 10 years. He's 2.5 years into his own shop, though, in Foster. He was working as a 2IC up on the Gold Coast in a pretty big golf shop up there. So he's sort of come into it very green, and he's tried to do everything. He's tried to do all his internal book work, and he's trying to, you know, drive his staff and do all those sorts of things, as well as be a golf pro. So during the event, he quickly came to the realisation that doing all that stuff is actually not what's going to make him money in his business. So he said to me, he goes, "Tony, I need you to take control of that. Help me do it. Help me find the resources to do it. I'm going to go out and do more golf lessons," which he gets, 120 bucks an hour for. It helps him sell hardware, it helps him sell shoes, golf balls, and more members on the course. So he made that decision, and he's running away with it. The guy's got the RTO. Since we've started on the virtual CFO, it's allowed him to step out of his business. He's now working on what we call Uber Care. So they're in aged care, this RTO. So he's now developing Uber Care for aged care. So, and he's one of these guys that I think Peter was talking about yesterday afternoon, very much an entrepreneur, but he's hopeless at running a business. So it's allowed him to step out of his business and develop that next direction.
Gives them structure, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
I've got one more before we open it up to you guys. I believe, and I say that to everyone, and I don't know what everyone does, but I market to all my business clients, and I follow. I send some information out. I actually send hard copy. I then follow it up with email. I then get on the phone. I then go out and see them. How do you guys do it?
Yeah, we did all that because John said this is what you have to do. By far, you've got to drip on them all the time. But by far the best thing that got me going on it was actually me picking up the phone, talking to clients, and almost demanding to clients that they need to go. There was a couple of clients in particular. One I started doing monthly board level advice with back in December. I said to him in February, "If you don't come to this business boot camp in March, I can no longer do this work with you." So he was lucky, he got away with it because he had something come up on the family front, so he pulled out. But I told him next year he has to be there. But you have to engage the client directly, 100%. And I can't speak highly enough about the camp. It engages the client. You work on the table together with the client. So you break out into different sessions, and John's got all the books out there to show you examples of it. But as you're going through sessions, you break off into groups. And so if you've got 4 clients on your table, those 4 clients will, after about half a day, they'll all end up working together on each other's businesses and help each other, and they all stay in contact with each other afterwards too, which is a really fantastic thing.
Yeah, they share experiences, which is awesome.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
One final thing actually that I've just thought of. Yep. How important is it to start promoting it or going to your clients early?
100%. If anyone wants to do it, you need to start today. And the best way to do it, because it's $2,200, I think it is, isn't it, John?
That's the VIP rate. Normal rate's $2,970. But
yep.
Everyone here.
Yeah. So the best way to do it is engage the client today and tell them they can pay it off at $300 a month, whatever it is, over the next 9 months. That's what we're doing because it's at $200 or $300 a month. It's nothing for them. Rather than if you leave it after Christmas, then they've got to try and find that $2,200 after Christmas, after they've bought all the Christmas presents for the kids and all those types of things. So much easier if you do it right now. And we're using testimonials from clients that came last year. All the clients that said to us in February, March this year, "Look, I'd love to come, but haven't got the time this year," we've been hammering them. So look, I'm fairly confident we might get 4 tables.
You will, mate. You will. I've got confidence. All right. Was that interesting? All right. Do you guys have any questions on what we just talked about or what I've talked about so far? Or are you guys all signing up, coming on board? We're going to do this stuff together. We're going on a journey.
For both of you, really, is there a particular client that this is better suited for? So is there when you're trying to look through your fee base, is there a particular type of client that you think, it works for them, but maybe not for a different type of client?
No, not at all. And probably my bus company client is a prime example. Bus company in Taree, 95% of their income comes from state government for doing school kid runs. He sat there and we were talking about, I think it was one of the revenue areas, and he goes, "Well, we just can't do anything to increase revenue." And then we started talking about advertising on buses, corporate events, all sorts of different things, and it really opened up his eyes. And then you've got all the other things on working inside your business, with staffing, staff morale, all those, which are all important things in a bus company. So I think it's absolutely everyone and anyone, and it's clients that are turning over. If you've got someone that's got a coffee shop turning over a couple $100 grand a year, I think it's beneficial to them as well.
Yeah. I've also got one. Another accountant a few years ago came with a Harvey World franchisee. And if you go up on our website, she's given us a testimonial. And he basically comes up to me and goes, I think she's going to call on a guarantee. Because she goes to all these conferences with Harvey World and, you know, what else can we tell her? I said, that's okay. If she calls on the guarantee, we'll give her her money back. By the end of it, this lady's just raving on about the 3 days. It got her to speak to other people that she hasn't really had the opportunity because she's insulated with Harvey World travel franchisees. And she's gone back, rebranded her business, and now she calls herself a dream maker. So that's what she goes to market with. Ian Healy was our keynote speaker that year. She actually organised to go on a cruise and invited all these people. He was on the cruise. I think she had 150 people go on this cruise and just made, I think, $700,000 out of this one event. So the camp for her repaid her investment, 1,000, or 2,000, whatever the number is, over. So every business can get value from this. Yes, Mark.
John, if I could throw something in as well. Not last year, the year before, we actually took the management team from Ronald McDonald House Westmead up there. The new executive CEO was really keen on doing some work with his fundraising manager, house manager, etc., etc., etc. Whilst they were up there, one of the sessions was come up with a new innovative way of generating income. And the house down there at Westmead, we get $44 per night from the government for anyone that stays outside 100K. It costs $156 per night per room to run it. And when they were sitting there talking about it, one of them said, well, why don't we create a program where someone can come and donate one night? And hence, Pick Up the Tab was born. Pick Up the Tab now is a massive board that goes to our race day, our golf day and functions. It's raised close on $250,000. Because people come up and say, you know, I want to take one night. Or we had, you know, it was $156 a night, obviously. Or 10 nights for $1,000. The beauty of the model was that as a not-for-profit, they're not out there trying to create wealth in their business, but to get them away and start to work on the business, not in it, because whilst they're in it, they're totally focused. Come up with that idea, and it's been the best fundraising initiative. As the treasurer, I couldn't be happier. So clients who are not-for-profits, and you know, Tony, you spoke about the golf industry, golf clubs and social clubs and things like that. It's a prime opportunity just to get away and plan. Yep,
awesome. Yep. Any other questions, guys? Any thoughts?
Just quickly, what locations do you normally have the camp?
Gold Coast. People like getting away. Are you from up here or?
Cairns.
Cairns. Yep.
It's down the road.
That's it.
Other questions?
Any other questions? No? All good? All right, well, I've got a bit more. Thanks, Tony. Can we give him a round of applause? That was awesome. That was really good. Now, how do I close that? This. I need you, mate. And you might as well start there. The video's going to come up. The other video will be up soon. No, I've got to go through another slide first. A couple of slides. So while we've got a break, any questions? Do you like what we've done in our practice? Not bad? Not bad. Thanks, David. Yeah, Tony's team, pretty cool. They've done well. And I don't put that up there lightly. Forward-thinking advisors, very important. So to summarise, I think these are important questions we should probably take away from these couple of days. So, like I said, I've got a lot out of the day and a half already. How do you differentiate your firm to clients, team and prospects and develop your own unique core differentiator? What are you currently doing? Think about what you could do. Maybe on your flight home or drive home, or you can't drive from here, if your flight home, you think about it. What should we be doing? How do we position ourselves to be seen as being BA advisors? Because that's one of the biggest issues that our accountants are facing. Their clients think of them as tax accountants, because that's how it's been. It's a bit like that chartered accountant commercial when David was next to that business owner on the plane, and he said, they can't help me. They do tax and accounting. Well, how do we position ourselves? How do you get your clients from compliance work to value-added BA work? Important. You've got to think of the steps. How do you offer beneficial services to clients without selling to them? One of the strategies is the business camp. where you don't sell to them, you get them along to an event for 3 days, we change their mind, and then you get all the work from it. And is there a process? Now, outside, I have got a 5-step process that you guys can use in part of your BA work. It's only an outline, so come and see me, and I can hand it to you, and Mark might even be there, and we'll have a chat to you about some of the things that we're doing. But I've got plenty of flyers out there. Come and have a look. David, I need you. This is getting you fit. Not that you're not fit already. Now, the question is, this is Bob Farrell. He used to own ice cream parlours. Sold them to, I think it was Marriott or someone, and he's makes some important points. Actually, one in particular.
My name is Bob Farrell, and I've been very fortunate to work a lifetime as something I love doing, serving customers. For me, it was ice cream parlors. For you, maybe it's retail, healthcare, finance, etc. Whatever we do, remember, our business is not what we sell, it's who we serve. You and I are in the people business. We take care of people for a living. Hopefully, they leave happier than when they came in. At least that's what we try for. One of the best things that ever happened to me was to get a letter from a disappointed customer.
Dear Mr. Farrell, I've been coming to your restaurant ever since you opened. I really love the place. Love your ice cream. I love the fun. I love your hamburgers. They're the best. I love your pickles. They are the best pickle in Seattle. I always ask for an extra pickle. They always give me one. Today, Mr. Farrell, I came in, had my usual, asked for an extra pickle from the young waitress. Well, I don't know where she got the idea, but she said, well, I'll have to sell you a side of pickles for 75 cents. If that's the way you're going to run your restaurant, Mr. Farrell, I'm not coming back. Well, I got that letter, and from an entrepreneur who's just starting on his second store. That hurt. I wrote him a letter. I said, please, we still give pickles away. Don't you worry about it. Da-da-da. Please come back. Gave him a coupon. But what happened is, I thank him to this day. The war cry of our company became, give them the pickle. Take care of the customer. No matter what happens in our business and we hear something going on, somebody says, well, should we do it? Give them the pickle.
I talk to companies all over the world. No matter where I go, I always find that successful companies and successful employees have mastered the same 4 things when it comes to taking care of customers. The first thing they do is give away pickles. They make people happy. In other words, they've made serving others their #1 priority.
I spoke to a bunch of garbage men. They brought me in to speak on customer service. I gave a talk, they gave me a big hand, they loved it, da-da-da-da. And after my talk, the guy comes up, he said, Mr. Farrell, I love your story about the pickle. I said, well, thank you. He said, we give pickles away all summer. I'm thinking garbage truck, pickles. This guy's got it screwed up. I said, what do you mean you give pickles away? He says, we start lawnmowers. I said, what? We start lawnmowers. What do you mean? He said, well, my son and I, we drive around, he helps me in the summertime, and we see somebody up on their lawn cranking away. We stop the truck, go up there, and we start the lawnmower for them. We can start any lawnmower ever made. I says, you got it. That's the pickle.
What's your pickle? What is that extra or special thing you do to make people happy? That's your pickle. Maybe it's walking the customer to the item they're looking for instead of just pointing. Maybe it's a handwritten thank you on every order shipped out to the customer. Maybe instead of just delivering their food, patients get a menu so they can order what they want when they want it. The trick is to find out what the customer wants. Make sure they get it. That's the pickle.
So the question is, what's your pickle? What are you guys doing differently that's going to want to make people come to you and say, hey, help us with this business advisory stuff? What are you doing differently? That's it. Thanks, David. Could your pick will be the global business camp? Whoops. That's okay. Maybe, maybe not. This was a Sanctuary Cove event a couple of years ago. Just clients with their advisors on every table working on their business. Pretty neat. Anyway, was the session of some help? Was it of any value? Say yes. Just to get me off stage, otherwise I won't get off. You guys are going to have me all day because I like talking. Sarah said yes. But I didn't hear her like she was saying it for you. You've got to say yes.
Yeah, but I love Mark.
He's better looking, I suppose. Everything we do is marketing our business advisory service. Everything. And I think David touched on it before, touch points. As many as you can get. Give them an opportunity to talk to you. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got something out of it. I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'm out in the corner all by myself, so I want you all, if you want to, don't be forced, come around and have a chat. Maybe take something away, and who knows. Thank you so very much.